Welcome back to Gearwire.com. We're continuing our look at AmpliTube Fender, and we've looked at the classic and the more modern guitar amp simulations. Now let's look at some of the bass amp simulations that are included in AmpliTube Fender. Now we've got a Fender Bassman, obviously, but that's sort of more voiced for guitar or classic bass tones. But right now we've got the Fender Bassman 300 loaded up. And the Bassman 300 is really sort of Fender's modern tube bass amp for modern bass sounds. Right now we've got a preset loaded up called Bassman Clean. Let's actually sort of go into standby here and listen to what our bass tone direct is. Now I'm playing a Squier Vintage Modified Jazz with Seymour Duncan designed pickups. Now let's bring in our amp simulation. Sounds like we got some compression going on somewhere. Let's look at our stomp boxes. None there. There we go, it's in the rack. I'm not actually a huge fan of this Fender compressor here. In fact, let's bypass that. They do have a decent compressor that you can use as a stomp box, though. Let's hear what that sounds like on bass. Woo! Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. All right, but the bass sound itself is pretty great. Let's listen to another preset here. Bassman 300. This one's called, let's see, Big Dirt. What does that load up for us? Nothing in the stomp box area. Let's see. So we got our triangle chorus going on in the rack. That's what that sound is. That's kind of an interesting sound. Let's see. Bass Beast. There we go. Now we're using some fuzz. Let's go over to our 59 Bassman and hear what that sounds like. Uses a bass amp. 59 Attack. Kind of a cool, like, more classic sounding bass tone. Now I've also got the tube bass preamp, and let's just listen to what that sounds like. And let's look at that interface. Now we're just basically, this is just more of a direct tone. Let's crank the volume on this guy a little bit. Pretty basic sounding there. What other sounds we got out here? Clean Slap. it's a decent sound. Maybe the bass presets in here are not quite as exciting, but you can do some pretty nice sort of dual setups here. We've got our pre running through a Bassman cabinet here. So what does that sound like? You can get some different bass tones out of here, but the bass tones are maybe not as exciting, except for the fact that the Fender Blender sounds just awesome. Let's see if we can load up a preset with the Fender Blender. There we go. Anyway, so those are some of the bass tones that you can get from AmpliTube Fender.